Where is everybody practicing from today? I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, in the middle of America, where it is a gorgeous day outside. I can't believe I'm in here practicing the piano. We need to move these outside, folks. What do you say? As we roll into fall and the weather gets nice. But we are working on something very, very cool today. This is a way to comp using locked hands voicings that is just one of my all-time favorite ways to get a nice, chunky, punchy comping sound. And we're going to do it all over rhythm changes. So get to your piano. This is piano specific. These chords are even a little too thick for the guitar. I say that. Some guitarist, some virtuoso is going to be able to do this easily. But these are mostly used for piano chords. These are locked hand, 5-note voicings. So get to your piano and let's get to work. Also today, this technique that I'm about to teach. I go into a very deep dive on it on my brand new course, Block Chords Made Easy. So for today, actually for the entire weekend, we are still rolling on with our Block Chords Made Easy launch special. So you could save $40 on the price of this course today. We have a link here in the description, and there should be a link in the chat coming very soon. And I'll remind you, but it's a pretty in-depth look at both locked hands and drop two. And it's been incredibly popular. I'm so flattered that so many people are digging it. So go check that out. We'll just give it another couple minutes here as the room fills up. That's what we like to say. So let me know where you're practicing. There it is. Today, only $40 off Block Chords Made Easy. Block Chords Basics. Same thing. What's up, Ann from Germany? What's up, Dan from Maryland? I'm a little out of sync. Let's see if we can't fix that. Might be able to. How's that? A little better? Check, check, check. Still two atoms? Is it all good? Check, check, check. How's the audio? Good? Let me know. Let me know what you're hearing. Check, check, check. All right, we're all good. Cool. We'll just give it another couple of minutes. Let me know where you're practicing today. Make sure that you are at your piano. Yeah, make sure that you can hear me. Make sure that you can hear yourself. And let's get ready to work on this. All good, all good. All right. So what we're going to do today is called the guided practice session, and these have become incredibly popular around here at Open Studio. We've realized as we've been sort of streaming our teaching that it's effective to give you information, and some really, really advanced players can take any information and they know how to work on it and they know how to get it in their playing. But there's a lot of people that are still unsure of exactly how and what to practice to get the most effective results from these practice sessions. So we've kind of switched to this model of just practicing with you. So I'm going to tell you what to practice. I have my handy metronome here, and I'm going to play it along to it, and I'll count you off, and we'll play together. Sometimes I'll accompany you with like a bass line and the metronome on 2 and 4. Sometimes I'll play exactly with you so you can get a model of what it should sound like. But it's really just like there would be like a guided meditation or like a guided exercise video. Think along those lines. It's somewhere in there of I'm sort of leading the way here in this full-on practice session. So it's not so much a tutorial as it is like we're gonna practice today. So make sure you can hear yourself, make sure you can hear me, and let's do some good work. All right. Oh, this is a pressing issue right here. DK Sound System. Hey, Adam, will the blues sign Petrangelo? I hope so. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Petrangelo. All right, all right. Cool, cool, cool. We're about ready here. We are We're almost there. Oh. I want to check one more thing. Check, check. All right. Let's do it. Again, if you'd like a deeper dive on what we're about to go into, there's a link here for today, only $40 off our block chord course, Block Chords Made Easy. Follow that link and save some money today. So we'd like to hook you up. We get asked all the time with these YouTube guided practice sessions, where can I learn more about this stuff? So we like to share that for you. All right. Welcome to today's guided practice session. My name is Adam Maness. Today we are practicing one of my all-time favorite techniques to comp in a punchy, like a nice bebop sound, a nice low way to comp and really get a lot of like chunky, punchy chords down in the low register of our piano. We're going to be working on rhythm changes, right? The changes to George Gershwin's I Got Rhythm that is used in so many contrafacts in the bebop sound. And we are going to be working on a very specific voicing called locked hands. It's a 5-note. It's also called like shearing style. It's a 5-note voicing, and I'll just give you, before we get started, I'll give you the basic structure of the voicing, right? So this is an octaves-based voicing system, meaning that the outer notes of the voicing are octaves. So if I have a B-flat major 6-9 chord or B-flat 6 chord here, the outer notes are octaves. I play the low note with my left hand and the high note with my right hand, and then we fill in a B-flat 6 chord. 4 notes in the right, 1 note in the left. It seems weird, but it's a really effective way to voice these chords. So here I have B flat in my left, and then on my right, from the bottom up, I have D, F, G, and B flat. The 3rd, 5th, 6th, and the root. So that's the basic structure of this voicing. This is a fantastic voicing to comp with because you can comp so melodically. Not only do we have a system here that's available that we'll get into of how to make melodies over any chord change and over any kind of chord, but because that melody is doubled, right? Because it's in octaves, it's super, super strong. So, right, you can really hear that because that top note is doubled below. It just makes it clear. There's no guessing. It's different than like 5-note chordal voicings, which have a very pristine and glassy quality to them, but the top note is not as distinct as it is when you have it doubled, obviously, you know. Anyway, so that's what we'll be working on today. And I have just an 8-bar phrase that we are going to play in 3 different keys. We'll start in B flat. This is just the A section to a rhythm changes, right? And I have some specific changes here, but it's a little etude that we can do to get these kinds of chords in a 1-6-2-5, or the first 8 bars of a rhythm changes in these 3 keys. I think it's a great introduction to this style of comping. And so what I'll do here is let me play it for you first so you can hear how this sounds. I think you're going to dig this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. So I'm adding my own rhythm there, as I will encourage you to do as well. You can play it as written for sure, but I was adding some, some syncopation, some anticipation. And what you heard there was a nice melody, actually, over these changes, right? There's some themes going on here, right? I love that so much. But we voice it with these chords, and all the chords are appropriate to the chord change. I'll add some roots here so you can hear. down in my left hand. And so you can hear the punch. You can hear this kind of smack. There's a lot of little clusters going on here that make for such an interesting sound to comp for. And what I love about this too is it's in such a low range that even for like a tenor saxophone, you might be kind of rubbing up against their range, but for like trumpet, alto saxophone, most higher voices, you can be well below them and kind of give a nice little sonic range where you're in that low mid range, almost in a guitar range more than a piano where you would typically come. I love using these chords, especially in a more like traditional straight ahead or bebop setting. So before we start playing this, I want to give a brief tutorial about what these are. And you should know that I go on a very deep and detailed dive on this kind of voicing and these systems that we have set up here in my new course, Block Chords Made Easy. We have a link here in the chat. You can save $40 today. We get asked all the time, I want to take a deeper dive. I want to learn more about this. Where can I do that? Well, you can do that right here. These are all in that course, and we go super deep on it. And there's tons of information there. So check out the link here in the chat for that. It's also in the description. But I'll just break down briefly what I'm doing here. So, this is 1-6-2-5 based. Here we have a B flat major 6 to a B diminished, which is the same thing as like a G7 flat 9, right? The same quality. So for that B flat major 6, I have just a straight up block chord of B flat major 6, right? In my left hand, B flat, and then in my right hand, the 3rd, 5th, 6th, and then a B flat on top. And again, because that outer note is doubled, it's just so strong. And then for our B diminished 7, right, I have D, F, A flat, B, and D, right? So this is just an inversion of that B diminished. You could also play this over like a G7 flat 9, right? Because here on a G7, it's got the 5th, the 3rd, the flat 9, and the 7th, everything you would need for that. But it's also just an inversion of B diminished. Then for our C minor 7, literally, again, just a block chord built up from the root, C, E flat, G, B flat, C. And then for our F7 flat 9, check it out. Just like we could have used that D diminished as a G7 flat 9, we can use this E flat diminished, E flat, G flat, A, C, and E flat over F, and it's an F7 flat 9, right? We have the 7th and 3rd, right? E flat and A of F, and we have the flat 9, and then we have the 5th. Then our D minor 7, again, just literally built up from the root, D, F, A, C, D, right? Going to a G7 flat 9, again, just like the F7 flat 9 or that B diminished, this is just a diminished chord, right? It works, again, an inversion of the B diminished, D diminished, F diminished, right? Diminished 7th chords are just a series of minor thirds, and it's the same 4 chords in 4 different inversions. So B diminished is the same notes as D diminished, is the same notes as F diminished, is the same notes as A flat diminished. And for our G7 flat 9 chord, F diminished has all the notes we need. F, the 7th, A flat, the flat 9, B, the 3rd, and D, the 5th. Okay, then we go back to our C minor 7, right? The 3rd, 5, 7 root, right? Also could be an E flat 6-9 chord or E flat 6 chord, but it's relative minor, C minor 7. And then check this out, F7 flat 9 again. But one of the rules and one of the things in the course, Block Chords Made Easy, that we talk about is this French style voicing. So this F7 flat 9, right, it's a diminished chord we have here. If we look at the last quarter note of this bar, right, it's G flat, A, C, E flat, G flat. It's a G flat diminished. This is based off of the F half whole diminished scale. Right, a series of half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, half step, whole step, right? So we have this G flat. We can move the outer notes while keeping the middle notes the same. up the scale. So from the G flat up is a whole step. Right? You hear this sound all the time. So this F7 flat 9, we can move that outer note up a whole step for this sound. And that's what we do here. And then we're on to our second stanza there, our B flat 6, right? Where we have F, again, just an inversion of B flat major 6 with our structure here. F is the note. And then check it out, B flat 7. Again, it's based off of that half whole diminished sound, right? This F diminished chord. We can move those outer notes up a whole step while keeping the inner notes of the diminished chord the same, and then move them back. E flat 6. Notice this is the exact same voicing as our C minor 7, right? The relative minor and major of each other. E flat minor 6 9. Using, again, that French style. Here I have a minor 6 chord, E flat, G flat, B flat, C, and E flat. We can use that same French system where we move the outer note up the scale, right, the E flat melodic minor scale, so that E flat can become F, which we do here, you know, because we want some melodic movement on this stuff. And then I love this movement here. D minor 7, just our typical block chord, to a G7, we'll call it altered. You could call it flat 9, flat 13. So again, this is based off of, if we have our D diminished, what we'll call like a C harmonic minor with a flat 7 as a passing note. It doesn't really matter, but this voicing here, we can move that outer D up to E flat, and it gives us this. It's just gorgeous. So it sounds like. And then check this out. Our very last 2/5, the last bar, we have our C minor 7, right? Nothing out of the ordinary there. But here we have our F7 or F13 flat 9. This is, again, that same half whole diminished set, right? Where we have a diminished chord, C diminished, right? Which could be E flat, it could be G flat, it could be A. Right? C diminished. And again, we can move those outer notes up the diminished scale. So it can go up a whole step to D. And that's what I have here. So we have, and you hear this sound all the time. Like if we just play those last 2 bars with some roots in here so you could hear it. I love these little punchy clusters way down in the bottom of the range. Whew. I could play that all day, honestly. So that's that. Okay, so that was a long-winded explanation, but if you are starting to kind of get this, right? If things are clicking here, if maybe you didn't know about this stuff, but it's kind of clicking, you can always go back and check out that explanation of the theory behind what we're doing. And again, if you want a deep dive, we have for today only. For today only, we have, you can save $40 on block chords made easy, which is right here in the chat. Follow the link, and you can save a good chunk of change on the course. But let's practice this, eh? Let's start slowly. I think this will be good. Yeah. It's a good place to start. Let me just go through it once here, make sure. I'm just going to play it as written to start. I say that. So let's try that. Let's try it right here at this tempo. I'm just going to play it just as written. Let's just get these voicings in our hand before we start messing with the rhythm or anything else. Let's try it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and play with me. Play it again. Back to the top. shapes in here. So there it is. That's just the basic shapes. You wouldn't actually comp that way. I mean, you could comp that simply. It would be just fine. But we can do a little more with that, and we should. So one note here on technique for this, because I've been asked just recently, how do you play these block chords and not have them sound so disjointed? Well, the answer is not anything groundbreaking. You have to practice, and you have to practice making them smooth naturally. So what we want to do is focus on not using too much or any sustain pedal as we work on this today. Really put your foot behind your bench. See if you can do it just with your fingers. And something to think about, the analogy that I always love to talk about when I talk about an easy legato sound is there's almost a rhythm, right, to our hand and our wrist as we move, especially in big chunks on our right hand here. So you want to kind of feel the bounce of this. What you want to think about is your fingers staying down. I'll try to get it in frame here. Your fingers staying down as long as possible as your hand already starts to move to the next chord. This takes knowing what the notes are a little bit. So you might just take some time to slowly work through this before you try this. But think about a car and its shocks and struts going over a pothole, right? And how the wheels of the car go down into the pothole, but the driver stays relatively level over the bumpy road, right? And your fingers in this case are, I mean, they're naturally shaped like shocks and struts, where we can start moving our hand to the next chord already in the motion of playing it while our fingers are staying down as long as possible. This helps give us a somewhat legato sound. Like, it's going to be almost impossible to be as smooth as you can do it if you were just doing one note at a time, and you could overlap. You can do that somewhat on some fingers, but not all of them. Okay, so let's try this again. This time I'm going to play a bass line for you, just a nice 2-field bass line. We'll put this metronome at 2 and 4 again, and I want you to now experiment. If you're still getting the notes here, then lock in the notes. You might call out the chord change too, C minor 7, or like 2, 5, 1. I'll play the bass line. Experiment with some rhythm. So just as I did in the intro, experiment with anticipating the rhythm, adding some rhythms, really trying to add some syncopation, some swing to this, so it sounds more like 1, 2, 3, and. See if you can sing with this rhythm. I'll play the bass. You experiment with getting these chords in your fingers and playing some rhythm. Let's try it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. Let's try it again. Play with me. Again. Again. Hey. Okay, let's do one comping experiment. Some rhythmic thing that I love to try with my students who are having a hard time getting a good swing feel on their comping. This is a Red Garland trick. You'll hear Red do something like this. He really leans on the and of 4 and the and of 2, anticipating the chord that's about to happen. The advantage of this is that you're setting your listener's ear up for the harmony a split second before it actually changes. And then you're also propelling that music forward with each chord that anticipates the beat. So it sounds like this. Just and of 4, and of 2. 1, 2, 3, and. I mean, that feels great. I guarantee if you do that in a rhythm section, the drummer will start to smile because it makes them sound better. So you try that. I'll play the bass. Try doing that, anticipating the beat on the and of 4 and the and of 2. If there's quarter notes, you can just do all upbeats there. I think you're going to find that the music really goes towards the front of the foot. Let's try it. 2, 1, 2, 3, and. Try it again. One more time. Just all upbeats. And of 4, and of 2. Very, very cool, eh? Oh, man, that's so, so nice. I love that exercise. We'll do that again as we change keys. Speaking of, let's change keys. Let's take it up a fifth. This is a range that's a little more in a melodic area, we shall say. But it's the exact same thing. Let's try it nice and slow. Let's try it like straight, like pretty straight ahead. Just getting the voicings. These are quarter notes here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just as written. Getting these voicings in our hand. It's the same principles as it was in the other key. Let's do it again. One more time, one more time. From the top. Try it again. Notice all these dominant chords are diminished. They're diminished voicings. Man, I love these chords so much. Okay, it really gets me going. So let's go back down to like, yeah, you know. I'll play some bass. You try these again. If you're still kind of struggling to get them, you can play them as written. If you're a little bit more of an advanced player and you kind of already know these a little bit, but the sequence is new, but you can get to these voicings easily, try just playing some rhythm on them. If you are searching for rhythm to play, try that Red Garland and a 4 and a 2. It's an easy way to swing. Again, if I'm on a gig and I'm like feeling like, okay, we need to swing this a little bit more, I'll put in this red garland and a 4 and a 2 rhythm. It works like a charm every time. Let's try it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. Again. Again. Top. One more time, one more time. There it is, key of F. And again, those same principles where we're really leaning on here on every dominant chord is some kind of diminished voicing based off of that half-whole diminished scale. I just think it's so super hip. Okay, let's do, you know what, let's do this one more time. For our more advanced players, let's take it up a little bit. This is more likely the tempo you would play a rhythm changes at. Let's try it here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. One more time. All right. Just McConaughey it up there. All right. One more key. This is a little bit closer to our original key here. We have the key of C. But again, the same principles are applying here. Right? Every one of these dominant chords is based off of that diminished. Let's just take a minute, kind of get these voicings, but it's the same sequence, just in the key of C. Again, if I were to play this right about here, it would sound like this. Isn't that great? It's such a great way to comp. We're comping melodically. Man, it sounds so good. Okay, let's try it. We'll take it down as it's our first time through here in this key. Give it a shot. If this is still feeling a little awkward for you, just take it as written, nice and easy, nice and smooth. And if not, start experimenting with the rhythm. Again, that red garland rhythm is so super cool. Let's try it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. One more time. All right, let's do one more tempo in the key of C, right here. Nice and bright. Not too terrible, though. Again, for this time, I want you to, as we get faster, actually it gets easier to be a little smoother as long as we're not jumping around too much. And I don't feel like these thirds that we're jumping in are too much. So you might think again like that car analogy, right? There's no, the fingering for this, you know, you're in the middle, you can kind of switch between the second or third finger, third and fourth finger on some voicings, but your thumb on your right hand and your pinky on your right hand, a lot of times is gonna be playing that top, like your pinky, you can alternate for sure between your fourth and your fifth finger on the top note, and that helps. But it's just not going to be the case at all times. You're just not going to be able to get away with doing it. Like I can do it here, right on the C7 flat 9, pinky and then fourth finger. Cool. Same thing on those, stepwise. But not every chord is going to be able to do that. So you need to work on that transition, right? Where your hand is already moving to the next chord and you want to think, keep my fingers down as long as possible. Even for the other notes there, it's helpful. And then really rely on, when you do have those fourth and fifth fingers available to change, rely on that legato to help you get through. No sustain pedal in this practice at all, right? We don't want to cheat and be like leaning on our pedal. Yeah, of course, everybody can do that. My 8-year-old can do that. But can we make it smooth without doing that? That takes work. That takes practice. And why cheat yourself in the practice room? It's just us. Nobody has to know anything. You know what I'm saying? It sounded nefarious. Let's try it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and. Just loop it. Have fun with it. Top. Two more times. Practice with me. Hey. Woo. Getting ahead of us. One more time. Bam! Isn't that great? Isn't that fun? Ah, I love that so much. Again, if you want to take a deeper dive on this, we have a brand new course out called Block Chords Made Easy, where we go super deep into it. We get asked all the time here on YouTube how we can. And there's a link here in the chat that you can follow. You could save $40 on that for just the rest of the weekend only. So go check that out right now. And yeah, hit me up with any questions that you have here in the comments. Let me know. What are you working on with block chords? What questions do you have with fingerings? What questions do you have with voicings? Hit me up in the comments. My name is Adam. I'm here to help. So yeah, thanks everybody for practicing today. I love doing these live practice sessions. I'm doing it anyway. I'm practicing this whether you're here or not. So it doesn't matter to me, but it's fun to turn the cameras on and do it with you all. So thank you, folks. I'll be back here on Tuesday. Until next time, happy practicing.